What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Keep It Hoop YouTube channel. Today, I wanted to take a look at Steph Curry's jump shot after he won the three-point contest on Sunday. Now, he's someone that kind of has a unique jump shot. It looks really smooth, it goes in, and it obviously works. But I wanted to key in on this because I'm someone, when I was working out and trying out to play professionally in Japan, I really broke down his jump shot. Him and Dame were the two guys I really looked at because they were two smaller guards who had seemingly infinite range. And they don't have what many, or I guess some would call the fundamental jump shot that they used to teach 20, 30 years ago, right? The foot facing the basket, the shoulder square, and that kind of stuff. So I wanted to kind of break some of the myth and the taboo around some of that and break down what he does and why it works so well. Before we get started, if you could like, subscribe, share, and comment, would mean a lot. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, follow us on our social media pages where I keep underscore it underscore hoop on Twitter and keep it hoop blog on Instagram. We are also on Twitch, so we will have the link in the description below. But with that out the way, let's get started. So, the one thing you're going to notice with Steph is, and you're going to notice about, this about all the great shooters, or at least most of them, is they're just very minimal distractions or motions, right? Very simple and very in sync. So when he's going down, the ball's also going down. So it's never a situation where the ball's going down and his body's already on the way up, or he's going up and the ball's going down. It's all very in sync and in motion. And I know this is a little bit different because he's catching it off of, or taking the ball off of a rack and not just catching and shooting it. But you are going to still see that, again, everything's in motion. Now, he doesn't have a high release, right? Like if you just see where his release is, he's letting the ball go not very high, right? Like this right here isn't very high. It's just above his head. Now, it's fine. Again, it works for him. But there are players in the league and also coaches who in the past would tell you to shoot around here, right? Really have a high release. And people have always kind of stressed that. Now, the good thing is, I have heard or I have seen coaches stress that less. I think through, again, guys like Steph and Dame, they've seen the benefits of having not necessarily a lower release, but being okay with having a not as high release, right? You still don't want to shoot from your neck or from your nose. A higher release can help, but one thing that it can do is if your release is too high, then it can often throw off that rhythm and the synchronicity that you have with your body. And what I mean by that is if, right, let's say you're going down, you bring the ball down, you have a little bit of a dip, you rise up to shoot, and the ball's going up as well. But if at a certain point, right, your body's going to stop going up. You're either going to be at the apex of your jump, um, if you're jumping high, even then, and if you're not jumping high, even more so. But if you have a really high release, right, and you can try to bring the ball up as fast as you can, but at a certain point, your body's going to stop moving up, right? But the ball's still going to be moving higher up. So that can lead to you shooting when you're on the way down or just being uncomfortable. And again, it throws off that rhythm. And the less rhythm you have, often, the less range you have. And the less range you have, even when you're trying to shoot from further out, it just throws off your mechanics even more. And you can go off balance. And you can either shoot, air balls or just really bad shots. It also takes more energy to do so. So that is one of the benefits of having a lower release, right? You can shoot it more in sync and more in rhythm. The other thing that having done this myself is if you're able to shoot it a little bit lower. Again, I'm not saying shoot it from your chest, but if your release is a little bit lower, you can tend to shoot the ball quicker. You have a quicker release, and Steph's a guy who's very known and famous for having a quick release, right? And that's just very basic knowledge, right? If the ball has to travel less, right, instead of all the way up here, you're gonna have a quicker release. So that's something that you can notice. Um, that's different from what people used to teach. And again, regardless of what shot you go with or what your form is, at the end of the day, you still do need. It's going to be about the reps, right? I think comfort is really important. So whatever's comfortable for you, just practice that. There's obviously things you can work on and fix with your shot. But I did want to have this video to make sure people understand that it doesn't have to be the rigid feet and shoulders square kind of shot that people are used to being told or are used to coaching to other people, because I don't think this is the case anymore. You can shoot the way you want to a degree, what's comfortable, and I think a lot of times these little things can help you. Another thing, so I talked about the foot, right? If you look at the foot again, 20 years ago, they would tell you to have both feet pointed towards the rim, and that is not the case with Steph. It's not the case with a lot of guys. KD, Damian Lillard, both are guys who have their feet slanted a bit, right? Not pointed towards the rim at all. And I went with this approach too, and I think what Steph talked about, and I can attest to this as well, is a lot of guys. It's all about having because like your foot and which way they're facing, that direction doesn't impact the release or the shot that much, right? Because at the end of the day, it's still important to bend your knees and get low and create momentum and energy with your legs. Like Steph's still doing that, right? You can see the knees bent, he's still getting low. But your legs are more for creating strength and being on balance, right? And if this is on balance for him, this footwork, then that's all that matters. Because at the end of the day, the shooting, where the ball's going, a lot of that is still done with the upper body. And the only thing he and a guy even like Kobe often stressed is having the elbow, the forearm, and the shoulders all facing the rim. Um, and as he releases this, you're going to see this. But again, that's the thing that's really important, right? So you don't have to have both feet, elbows, hips all pointed towards the rim anymore. If it's more comfortable for you to have it sideways, so be it. It works for some guys. I don't think it's a thing that you need to focus too much on anymore. I would say focus more on again having the shoulder, your shooting shoulder, right? So if you're righty, your right shoulder. If you're lefty, your left shoulder, and your elbow tucked and compact, and your forearm, wrist, everything, upper body on your shooting arm facing the rim. I think that's a lot more important than focusing on your feet. Again, your feet and your lower body are just more for um, being on balance and also um, creating momentum and creating that strength. But other than that, I mean, do whatever you want with your feet, to be honest. And then the last thing I wanted to point out with him was how little his left hand does. Now, he does have a little bit of a thumb flick, and a lot of guys in the NBA do. Kyrie, especially. Kyrie's someone who has a very, very noticeable thumb flick. And that what I mean by that is, if you don't know, when you're shooting, your offhand can often, once you're trying to shoot with your shooting hand, your thumb can on your offhand can push the ball a little bit. It's not noticeable, and you're obviously not doing it on purpose, but it can happen. And as you can imagine, that can lead to a shot going to the left, to the right, and messing up your shot a bit. Now, again, this is another thing that with hours and hours of rep, you can fix, right? If you're just getting up hundreds of shots a day, you're gonna be able to work through it, right? So don't panic if you do. But besides that, I want you guys to just look at how little his left hand does, because once he's, at the point or close to the point of his release, he's at a point where he really just lets that ball go, and he almost lets his left hand hit his right wrist afterward. Like that's how little, I would say, like, strength he has in his left hand. He's really not controlling it, and he's just really letting the ball fly with his right hand. And this is even a drill I've heard people, recommend doing. If you're shooting a jump shot, whether it's from the free throw line, mid range, 3-point line, take your normal jump shot, same routine, whatever your form is, but really focus on your left hand hitting your right wrist if you're righty. And so if you're a left hand shooter, your right hand hitting your left wrist after you shoot. Again, everything is normal. And then after you let it go, hitting the shooting wrist with your other hand. And I don't know why it just works, but Steph kind of has the same thing, right? Because after he releases it, right there, hits his wrist. I thought it was interesting. I've done this drill. It does work, but it really does make you focus on having a really straight release. And obviously, again, if you can minimize left right movement, any kind of extra movement, it helps. So your shooting hand, your shooting arm, forearm, elbow, shoulder, all very in sync, straight motion. And your left hand, again, is just there to guide it. And then once it's up there and you're ready to shoot it with your shooting hand, you're just letting that left hand go, right? Um, that's how you can get a straight shot. Because whenever you're shooting, you never want to miss left to right. If you're missing long, short, easily fixable. Maybe sometimes you're just tired or whatever. But if you're missing shots left to the right, it's a lot harder to fix, and it's usually more to do with your form. Whether if you're short or long, it's you just have an off day or you're tired. So yeah, that's another thing to keep an eye on. But yeah, it is a shorter video, but I thought why not? I mean, he won the 3-point contest. I think he's the only active player right now who's won multiple trophies. Um, Obviously, the greatest shooter we've ever seen, and he does have a form that, while it looks pretty and it works, it isn't what guys would teach you, say, 20, 30 years ago, right? Or even 15 years ago. Again, foot, knees, hips, shoulders all aligned to the basket, very rigid motion. But that's kind of what they used to teach you. And guys like KD, Steph, Dame, um, have kind of changed things. And, you know, they're able to create more momentum and get quicker releases off with having even a lower release, and even adjusting the way their feet are facing. So, hope you guys enjoy this video. I'm going to be doing a podcast slash video tomorrow talking about, or just breaking down the first half of the season, as well as talking about what to expect or things to look forward to in the second half of the season, as well as first half award winners. I am also going to be doing this same exact video, but for Jason Tatum, because I thought his shot was a little bit interesting. He's another guy who's obviously a good scorer, good shooter, but his shot is a bit different, and I've always known that his shot looked a bit off. Not bad, but just a little different. But I think it was emphasized in the 3-point contest, and I just wanted to break down his shot, so I'll be doing that Thursday. Had an article coming out yesterday on keepithoop.wordpress.com. I'm going to have another article out on Friday as well. So that's kind of the schedule coming up. Again, I hope you enjoyed this video. Um, Remember to like, subscribe, share, and comment. But like I said, yeah, we'll be back tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Peace.